D-Day. D-Day. It's an idiom. It means the day chosen for the commencement of an important activity. In other words, any major upcoming event is called a D-Day. Let us see the idiom in the examples. The first one, the players are preparing themselves for D-Day, the final match. Very important match, final match. That's the reason, themselves for D-Day. Second one, next Friday is D-Day. We are launching our new project. So next Friday is very important day. That is the reason, D-Day. Why? We are starting new project. Third one, after 4 hectic weeks of electioneering, candidates are preparing themselves for D-Day tomorrow. D-Day means tomorrow is election day. So all the candidates are waiting for that particular day, election day. So it's a D-Day. Fourth one, D-Day for my departure was set for 29th June. So 29th June is very important day in my life because I am going abroad. So that is the D-Day for my life. Fifth one, she had said the same thing the year before when he went to Europe without her for the 40th anniversary of D-Day. So 40th anniversary is very important day in their life. So when he was going to Europe, his wife said the same thing. And this year also she is saying the same thing. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, D-Day, the D in D-Day stands for day. So when you say D-Day, what you are actually saying is day. The expression was first used during the First World War and not, as many people think, in the Second World War. The famous D-Day was 6th June 1944. So finally, we understand D-Day means very important day or the day chosen for any new upcoming event. Damp squib. Damp squib. It's an idiom. It means fail to meet one's expectations or a sense of disappointment. In other words, an event which people think will be exciting but which is disappointing when it happens. So when this is the case, it is a damp squib. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, the seminar was a damp squib because none of the big names turned up. So people thought celebrities would come to this seminar but nobody came. That's the reason it's a failure. So it was a damp squib, all disappointed. Second one, for the majority of Indians, the World Cup turned out to be a damp squib. It's a disappointment for all the majority of Indians because India couldn't win the World Cup. So it's a damp squib. Third one, the party turned out to be a bit of damp squib. Half the people who had been invited didn't turn up. So majority of the people didn't come to the party. So it was a big disappointment to many of the people. So it's a bit of a damp squib. Fourth one, the all-party meeting was a damp squib. It's a failure. It was not successful. Everybody expected high, but it didn't happen. So it was a damp squib. Fifth one, after all that media attention, the whole event turned out to be a bit of a damp squib with very few people attending. So media gave a lot of exposure to this meeting, but few people attended. Majority didn't attend. So it's a big disappointment to majority of the people. So when we look at the origin of this idiom damp squib, we all know what damp means. It means wet. A squib is a firecracker. We know from our experience that when a firecracker that is damp is lit, it doesn't explode, right? How do we feel when it doesn't? Terribly disappointed. So from this experience, damp squib idiom came into force, which means fail to meet one's expectations or a sense of disappointment. Dark horse. Dark horse. It's an idiom. It means a person whose ability one knows very little about. That is, someone whose abilities, plans, and feelings are a mystery to others. In other words, someone who was previously unknown but suddenly emerges into prominence. So, when that is the case, he is really a dark horse. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, you never can tell. Some dark horse may come along and win a CM seat, and nobody knows who will become a CM because we don't know about many people much. So, someone who is eminent come forward and become a CM. Second one, I didn't know that Vinita could paint. She is such a dark horse. These many days I know Vinita, but I don't know that she could paint. And she is a dark horse. So she is unknown to me. Third one, according to my favorite columnist, there are 2 or 3 dark horses in the tournament. There are 2 or 3 people about whom we know very little. So let us find out who are those 2 in the tournament. It may help us. Fourth one, a lot of people are saying that she could be the dark horse for winning a medal in the championships. So she is a very talented, but nobody knew it. So she might help us to win the championship. So that's the reason she could be the dark horse for winning the medal. She could be very talented person. Fifth one, though many favored the bigger teams to win the competition, the local team was a dark horse and surprised everyone with their dazzling performances. So everybody thought the big teams would win the competition and nobody cared about the local team. But surprisingly, the local team won the competition. So nobody knew about their eminence. So local team was a dark horse for some time. So when we look at the origin of this idiom dark horse, this expression comes from the world of horse racing. In order to determine the odds on a horse winning race, punters take into account the animal's lineage and its win-loss record. If this information is not available, then those placing bets have no way of knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the animal. They are in the dark about the animal. Such a horse is a dark horse. It is believed that Benjamin Disraeli was the first person to use this expression. So finally, dark horse is a person who was previously unknown but suddenly emerges into prominence. Davy Jones locker. Davy Jones locker. It's an idiom. It means the ocean's bottom, especially when regarded as the grave of all who perish at sea. In simple words, to drown or to go to the bottom of the sea. That is called Davy Jones locker. So, bottom of the sea is called Davy Jones locker. Let us see this in examples. The first one, the old pirate ended up in Davy Jones locker. So, this old pirate died at the bottom of the sea. Second one, according to this newspaper report, the treasure is still in Davy Jones locker. The treasure is still at the bottom of the sea. So that's the reason he is still in Davy Jones locker. Third one, tragically, many men from that battle in the Pacific Ocean are now in Davy Jones locker. So many people died in the battle that happened on the Pacific Ocean and they are at the bottom of the sea right now. That's the reason now in Davy Jones locker. Fourth one, caught out at sea during the hurricane. They thought they were heading for Davy Jones locker. So they are caught in the middle of the hurricane and they were afraid that they would go to Davy Jones locker, bottom of the sea. Fifth one, they were going to sail around the world but ended up in Davy Jones locker. They started their journey to go around the globe, but finally they died and went to Davy Jones locker. So bottom of the sea. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, Davy Jones locker, although the idiom has been a part of the English language for well over 2 centuries, no one is really sure about its origin. Some scholars speculate that Davy Jones or David Jones was a fearsome pirate. One of the things that he did with his prisoners was to make them walk the plank. In other words, He threw them overboard while they were in the middle of the ocean. Result? The prisoners invariably drowned. Another theory is that David Jones was the owner of a pub who often drugged his unsuspecting patrons and sold them off as slaves to ship owners. And the theory that most people are comfortable with is the following: Jones is actually from Jonah, and Davy is a corruption of the West Indian word dupi, meaning ghost or devil. So, Davy Jones is actually the spirit of the sea or the sailor's devil. So, finally, whatever might be the theory, Davy Jones' locker is nothing but to drown at the sea or to go to bottom of the sea. Deep pockets. Deep pockets. It's an idiom. It means a wealthy person or an organization with a lot of money. In other words, if an organization or a person has deep pockets, they have a lot of money. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, in our country, the Ambanis and the Tatas have deep pockets. They have a lot of money. They are the richest. So, they have deep pockets. Second one, you will need deep pockets to turn this shabby old building into an attractive store. You need lot of money to renovate this old building. So you need deep pockets. Third one, if the school is keen on improving the facilities, then the management must find some deep pockets to finance the project. School has no facilities. If it wanted to increase, it needs money. So they should find some source. So that is why the management must find some deep pockets, some financing agency. Fourth one, anyone who tries to save that company will need deep pockets. The company is in complete losses. If somebody wanted to save it, needs lot of money, needs deep pockets. Fifth one, luckily we have an investor who is the deep pockets of our business and can fund all of this construction work. We have a rich investor who has a lot of money. He can finance everything. That's the reason who is the deep pockets. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, it's self-explanatory. If your pockets are deep, that is, they go a long way down, then it becomes possible for you to stuff a lot of money into them. It's very easy, right? So deep pockets is nothing but a wealthy person or an organization with a lot of money. Dog's breakfast. Dog's breakfast. It's an idiom. It means to make a complete mess of something. That is, something that is messy or poorly done. When you do something half or if you make something mess, that is called dog's breakfast. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, Deepa made a bit of a dog's breakfast of the essay. She couldn't write the essay perfectly, so Deepa made a bit of dog's breakfast. It's half done. Second one, Raj made a real dog's breakfast of painting the kitchen. So he couldn't paint the kitchen so well. He made a mess of it. He worsened the kitchen painting. That's the reason he made a real dog's breakfast. Third one, he's made a real dog's breakfast of these accounts. So he couldn't complete the accounts properly. He made entirely mistakes. So he made real dog's breakfast of these accounts. Fourth one, it was a dog's breakfast of a match and our coach was understandably upset. So our coach understood that we made this match a messy. So completely wrong. That's the reason it was a dog's breakfast. Fifth one, he labeled the government's plans a complete dog's breakfast. It happens. So opposition people always labeled government plans as unworthy or incomplete or messy plans. That's the reason a complete dog's breakfast. When we look at the origin of the idiom dog's breakfast, dogs have the habit of getting up early and going out. And when they do go out, they eat anything they find on the road. This is an informal expression mostly used in British English. So finally, dog's breakfast is to make a complete mess of something. Dog days. Dog days. It's an idiom. It means the hottest days of summer or hot and sultry days. Let us see it in the examples. The first one. During the dog days of summer, we get water every other day. We never get regularly. So every other day we get water during the summer. So during the dog days, during the hottest days of summer. Second one, the heat is unbearable. How are we going to cope up with the dog days? So it's already very hot and it is unbearable. And how are we going to cope up with, survive the hottest days of summer? So with the dog days. Third one, during the dog days of summer, people prefer to remain indoors and go out as little as possible. It's quite natural. When it is very hottest, we go outside very little. So during the dog days, we never go out as frequently as possible. Fourth one, the dog days of summer are a difficult period for those who have to work out in the open. It is very, very difficult for the people who are really working out in the open sun during the dog days, during the hottest days of the summer. Fifth one, the village lies in the hottest part of the country, and during the dog days of summer, the little stream that runs through it dries up completely. So river dries completely during the hot days of summer, during the dog days of summer, because there were no rains. So when we look at the origin of the idiom dog days, the hottest days in Europe mostly occur in the month of July. According to an old superstition, this was also the period when dogs had a tendency to go mad. But contrary to popular belief, dog days has nothing to do with dogs on earth. It has more to do with the dogs in the sky. In this case, it refers to Sirius, the dog star. During the height of summer, the dog star rises along with the sun. The ancient Romans believed that this star added to the heat of the sun and in the process caused the weather to become unbearably hot. The expression dog days is a translation of the Latin canicularis dies. So, dog days are the days which are the hottest days of summer. Donkey's ears. Donkey's ears. It's an idiom. It means a very long time or a long time. Let us see it in the examples. The first one. It's been donkey's ears since I spoke to Sita and Geeta. It has been very long time I spoke to Geeta and Sita. So I never spoke to them. It has become very long. So it's been donkey's ear, very long time. Second one, the project has been going on for donkey's ages. So we can even say donkey's ages also. So the project has been running for so long time. So for donkey's ages or for donkey's ears. Third one, she's been in the same job for donkey's years. She has been doing the same job for a long time, for a donkey's years. Fourth one, I haven't been here in donkey's years. I can't believe how much the town has changed. So I haven't visited this town for so long time. I haven't been here in donkey's year, long time. Fifth one, I have been a vegetarian for donkey's year. I have been a vegetarian for so many years. So for donkey's ears. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, donkey's ears, the expression has nothing to do with the lifespan of a donkey. It has more to do with the animal's enormously long ears. The original expression was donkey's ears. Donkey's ears, not donkey's ears. We can even say it as donkey's ages. So finally, donkey's ears means a very long time or a long time. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. It's an idiom. It means warning someone not to celebrate prematurely. In other words, don't assume to have everything you want until you have them. This is nothing but celebrating something without achieving it. So, if you are really celebrating something without achieving it, you are really counting your chickens before they hatch. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, before committing to make the payment, wait till you receive the money from the bank. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Don't give commitments to anyone before you receive money. First you receive money, then only you give commitments, because you haven't received your money from the bank. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. Second one, why not wait till you get the confirmation? Aren't you counting your chickens before they have hatched? Why are you confirming before you got the money? Can't you wait? First you get the confirmation, then go for the commitment. So I hope you are counting your chickens before they have hatched by giving commitment. Third one, ask Suresh. He may be willing to lend you some money, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. You ask Suresh, he may give you money. But before he gives you money, don't expect that he had given you money. So wait till he gives you money. That's the reason don't count your chickens before they hatch. Fourth one, you may get the job, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. Wait till you get the offer letter before you throw the party. We know you are talented, you will get the job. Don't give the party beforehand. Wait till you get the job. Then you can give the party. That's the reason don't count your chickens before they hatch. Fifth one, stop talking about the places you are going to see. You haven't got your visa yet. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. We know that you are going to see so many places, new places. That's fine, but you haven't got your visa. So my dear friend, don't count your chickens before they hatch. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, the expression comes from a story in Aesop's fables. In the story, a woman is carrying a basket of eggs. While she is walking, she begins to think about how many chicks she will soon have, how much money she'll make by selling the chicks, the things she will buy with all the money, etc. As she is thinking about all this, she drops the basket of eggs. Of course, we know the results, right? The woman is left with no eggs and no chicks. So finally, don't count your chickens before they hatch means don't assume to have everything you want until you have them. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It can also be said as never look a gift horse in the mouth. It is an idiom. It means do not find fault with something that has been given to you as a gift. In other words, don't be ungrateful when you receive a gift. So when you don't respect the gift that you have received, then you are really looking a gift horse in the mouth. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, I know you don't like the dress very much, but it was a gift. You should not look a gift horse in the mouth. I know you don't like the dress, but as it is a gift, you should be grateful to the person who has given the gift. You should not look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't insult it. Second one, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Be grateful for what you have received. So don't insult whatever you have received. Be grateful. Be thankful for whatever you have received. That's the reason don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Third one, Mahesh complained about the second-hand cycle that his aunt had given him. I told him not to look a gift horse in the mouth. So Mahesh was not very happy about the second-hand cycle that his aunt has given him, but I told him, be happy because you should not look a gift horse in the mouth. You should be grateful for that. Fourth one, he gave his old car as a gift. I know it's not a great one, but I wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I know that was not a new car, but I am very happy, content, because I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. Fifth one, Akash always complains about the gifts I gave him. He shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I always give gifts to Akash, but he was not very happy. He always finds some fault with it. That's the reason he should not find fault. He should not look a gift horse in the mouth. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, or never look a gift horse in the mouth. The normal way to determine a horse's age and its condition is to look at its teeth. If the teeth are long, it indicates that the animal is old and not in good condition. When you are given a horse as a gift, don't open its mouth to determine the condition of the animal. So finally, don't look a gift horse in the mouth means do not find fault with something that has been given to you as a gift. That is, to be grateful whatever you have received. Doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas. It can also be said as wavering Thomas, unbelieving Thomas. It's an idiom. It means a skeptic. That is, a person who demands proof before he believes or accepts anything. In simple words, a habitually doubtful person. If you express doubt about anything, you are really a doubting Thomas. Let's see it in the examples. The first one, he is such a doubting Thomas that he won't believe unless he sees things through his eyes. So he will never believe when you tell something. He has to see and he has to believe. That's the reason he is such a doubting Thomas. He won't believe very easily. Second one, she kept trying, hoping to prove all those doubting Thomases wrong. So everybody started doubting her capabilities. But she tried and finally successful. So she proved all those doubting Thomases wrong. Third one, Balakrishna is a real doubting Thomas. He wouldn't believe that the new house was mine till I showed him the documents. Balakrishna never believed when I told him that I bought a house. And finally he saw my documents and believed. So he is real doubting Thomas. Fourth one, he is a real doubting Thomas. He simply wouldn't believe I had won the car until he saw it with his own eyes. So when I told him that I had won the car, he never believed. But later I showed him the car and he had to believe it. So he is a real doubting Thomas. Fifth one, I am willing to approve the project provided you win over Rani, the doubting Thomas in our department. Rani in our department never believes anything, and finally she is a doubting Thomas in our department. So when we look at the origin of this idiom doubting Thomas, it is taken from the Bible. The story is when Saint Thomas was informed that Christ had risen from the dead, he refused to believe it. He demanded physical proof of Jesus' resurrection. Only when he saw Jesus with his own eyes and touched his wounds did he believe the others. According to scholars, the expression began to be used in the late 19th century. The earlier expressions that were commonly used were wavering Thomas and unbelieving Thomas. Wavering Thomas and unbelieving Thomas. So finally, doubting Thomas is nothing but a skeptic, a person who doesn't believe anything without proofs. Draw first blood. Draw first blood. It's an idiom. It means to strike the first blow. Hurt the opponent before he hurts you. That is, the first killing or wounding in a fight or in a war. Let us see it in the examples. In the debate, it was the visitors who drew first blood. So in the debate, visitors started attacking first. So visitors who drew first blood. Second one, We were hoping to draw first blood, unfortunately, we didn't. We thought we would be striking first, but we couldn't do it, so we were hoping to draw first blood, but we didn't. Third one, I drew first blood in the tournament and quickly dispatched my opponent. So finally, I wounded my opponent in the tournament and I won. So I drew first blood. Fourth one, Raju tried to draw first blood in the game. Unfortunately, he didn't. So Raju wanted to win over his opponent, but he could not win. So he tried to draw first blood. Fifth one, the teacher's caustic remarks clearly drew first blood. So teacher was very harsh in the words and she scolded. So teacher clearly hurt the student by scolding. That's why clearly drew first blood. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, draw first blood, the expression comes from the sport of boxing. In a boxing bout, you attempt to hurt the opponent before he hurts you. You hit him so hard, he starts bleeding, right? So from this game of boxing, this idiom came into existence, draw first blood, which means to strike the first blow, hurt the opponent before he hurts you. Dress up to the nines. Dress up to the nines, or it can be said as dress to the nines. It's an idiom. It means to be dressed elegantly, that is wearing one's best clothes, or looking elegant, smart, or flashy. If you are looking very smart, very elegant on your dress, you are really dressed up to the nines. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, he was dressed up to the nines when he went to meet the chairman. So he was dressed very elegantly, very nice. He wore the best dress. So he was dressed up to the nines when he met the chairman. Second one, she makes it a point to dress up to the nines whenever she goes out. So whenever she goes out of her house, she wears the best dress possible. So she makes a point to dress up to the nines. Third one, the masked ball was excellent. You should have seen the costumes. Everyone was dressed up to the nines. Masked ball is nothing but keeping masks to the face and dancing. So everybody was wearing excellent dress in this masked ball. That's the reason everyone was dressed up to the nines. Fourth one, after the divorce, she was grieving and dressed to the nines. She took divorce from her husband and now she is wearing the best dresses possible. So nobody is saying no to her. Fifth one, go out and buy yourself a new outfit for Friday night. Everyone will be dressed to the nines. So we'd better look smart. Go and buy some good dress for Friday. We have a party. So everybody will be looking good and you also should look good. So everyone will be dressed to the nines. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, dress to the nines or dress up to the nines, the expression comes from the Middle English, dress up to the nines, dressed up to the eyes. That is, dressed up to the eyes. In other words, this is one way of saying the one is immaculately dressed from top to bottom, from the eyes to the feet. That's it. So dress up to the nines or dress to the nines is nothing but to be dressed elegantly or wearing one's best clothes possible. Drink like a fish. Drink like a fish. It's an idiom. It means to consume a lot of alcohol. That is to drink heavily. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, according to this article, the award-winning writer drinks like a fish. He won the award, but this article shows that he drinks a lot of alcohol. He is an alcoholic. So he drinks like a fish. Second one, our maid told us that her husband drinks like a fish. So our maid told that her husband drinks lot of alcohol, consumes lot of alcohol. That's why husband drinks like a fish. Third one, at any party that he goes, he drinks like a fish. His wife ought to control this if she can. So wherever he goes, he drinks like a fish. He drinks lot of alcohol without any control, and the wife should control him. So he drinks like a fish in any party. Fourth one, Pass that bottle to me. I can drink this like a fish because it's my favorite drink. You bring that bottle to me. It's my favorite drink. So I can drink the entire bottle. So I can drink this like a fish. Fifth one. Drink like a fish today, since he has never been known to give a treat before this. He never gave any party to anybody. Today he is giving. Drink like a fish. Drink lot of alcohol. Drink as much as you can. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, drink like a fish, because it always keeps its mouth open, gives the impression that it is constantly drinking water. All it is doing is passing the water through its gills to get the required oxygen to survive. So finally, drink like a fish means to consume a lot of alcohol or to drink heavily. Drop like a hot potato. Drop like a hot potato. It's an idiom. It means to get rid of something or someone unwanted very quickly. That is, to disassociate oneself with someone or something instantly. If you leave someone or something at the moment, you are really dropping like a hot potato. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, the committee dropped the earlier report like a hot potato. It left the earlier old report immediately. That's the reason dropped the earlier report like a hot potato. Second one, when he realized she had no money, he dropped her like a hot potato. When he came to know that she had no money, immediately he left her. That is why he dropped her like a hot potato. Third one, I haven't seen Radha in weeks because she dropped me like a hot potato once she started hanging out with the cool kids. So Radha left me because I'm a poor guy once she found the rich fellows. That is why she dropped me like a hot potato. Fourth one, we dropped our renovation plans like a hot potato after finding out how much the job would cost. We wanted to renovate our house, but it costs more. So finally, we had no money. We immediately skipped that plan of renovation. That is why we dropped our renovation plans like a hot potato. Fifth one, I dropped the idea like a hot potato when the big boss said I didn't like it. So when the boss said he didn't like the idea, immediately I left the idea. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, drop like a hot potato, a potato that has been cooked is difficult to handle because it remains heat for a long time. When a potato that is hot is placed in our hand, our immediate reaction is to get rid of it, right? So what do? We drop it very quickly. So from this example, drop like a potato idiom has come into force, which means to get rid of something or someone unwanted very quickly. Drop off your hat. Drop off your hat. It's an idiom. It means willing to do something immediately without anyone urging you to do or at the slightest signal. If you do something immediately on a slightest signal, you are really dropping a hat. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, Kiran was willing to help me with my homework at the drop of a hat. I just asked Kiran, immediately he came and helped in my homework. That's the reason, at a drop of a hat. Second one, I would go to Goa at the drop of a hat. Give me a signal, immediately I go to Goa. That's the reason, at the drop of a hat, I go to Goa. Third one, she would purchase her expensive jewelry at the drop of a hat and worry about how she would pay for it later. So at a drop of a signal, immediately she buys expensive jewelry. Later she thinks how to pay for the jewelry. That's the reason, at the drop of a hat. Fourth one, we now have a situation where laws are bent at the drop of a hat. Yeah, it's a fact. People are changing the laws at the slightest signal. Whenever they want, they are changing immediately. That's the reason at the drop of a hat. Fifth one, we are expecting to just do it at the drop of a hat. No notice or anything. It's disgraceful. They are not giving any notice, they are not giving any circular, they are simply giving a hint so that we have to do it. They are expecting us to do work on that basis. It is really disgraceful. That's the reason at the drop of a hat. So when we look at the origin of this idiom, drop of a hat, according to some scholars, the idiom comes from the world of boxing, originated in the United States. During the 18th and 19th centuries, bells were not used to inform the fighters when to begin their bout. Instead, a hat or a cap was used. The referee or the man who was getting the show on the road raised his hat high and then dropped it. The dropping of the hat signaled to the boxers that they could get on with the fight. Later, the same signaling system began to be used in horse racing also. As soon as the man at the starting gate lowered his hat or dropped it, the horses were off and running. So finally, drop of a hat means willing to do something immediately without anyone urging you to do it or at the slightest signal. Dry as dust. Dry as dust. It's an idiom. It means something that is not interesting, not at all engaging. That is dull and boring. If something is dull and very boring, that is really dry as dust. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, the new textbook prescribed for English is as dry as dust. Very boring, not interesting at all. That's the reason it is as dry as dust. Second one, the speech that the Vice Chancellor gave yesterday was as dry as dust. It was very boring. The speech was very boring yesterday. So, as dry as dust. Third one, what makes the dry as dust subject interesting? A teacher can make it very interesting, right? Or the methods of teaching can also make it very interesting. So, what makes very boring subject interesting? So, what makes the dry as dust subject interesting? Fourth one, that lecture on physics almost put me to sleep. It was just dry as dust. So that physics class was very boring. I almost slept. It was just dry as dust. Fifth one, this book is as dry as dust. I am going to stop reading it. This book is very boring. I am not going to read it. I am stopping it. So not at all interesting. So it is a self-explanatory. So this idiom is self-explanatory. So we can understand from the idiom itself, dry as dust means very dull, boring, not interested, not at all engaging. Dutch act. Dutch act. It can also be said as Dutch cure. Dutch cure. It's an idiom. It means to commit or try to commit suicide. If somebody is committing suicide, they are really taking a Dutch act. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, some children take the Dutch cure when they fail the board exam. So when they fail the examination, some children commit suicide. So take the Dutch cure, Dutch act. Second one, was she depressed enough to do the Dutch act? So we are surprised. Was she really so depressed to commit a suicide, to do the Dutch act? Third one, the young bride tried to Dutch act when her in-laws began to pester her for more dowry. So when her in-laws demanded more dowry, she committed suicide. So the bride tried the Dutch act. Fourth one, well, Ken took the Dutch cure last week. So sad, it was the Dutch act. He ate his gun. He shot himself to the death. So he took the Dutch cure, Dutch act. Fifth one, after her daughter died, we were worried that Mary might be tempted to do the Dutch act. Everybody thought that Mary would die after her daughter had died. But she never did it. But we thought that she would take up Dutch act. So when we look at the idiom Dutch cure or Dutch act origin, the English believed that the average Dutchman was incapable of handling pressure, that is, any stress. Instead of facing his problems, he took the easy way out. So, from this expression, Dutch act or Dutch cure comes into existence, which means to commit or try to commit suicide. Dutch courage. Dutch courage. It's an idiom. It means courage that one displays when one is drunk. In other words, the courage that you get by drinking alcoholic drinks. When you display some bravery after drinking some alcohol, it is really a Dutch courage. Let us see it in the examples. The first one, don't listen to him. That's just Dutch courage talking. Now he has drunk a lot of alcohol. Don't listen to his words. It's just a Dutch courage. Second one, it was a Dutch courage which made the citizen insult the minister. Minister came to their village and one citizen of that village was drank and he insulted the minister. So it was a Dutch courage. Third one, the survey also noted how some performers used a little Dutch courage to overcome inhibitions. So a little survey was conducted how these people use alcohol to overcome some inhibitions. So taking alcohol may bring you out of your inhibitions. So a little Dutch courage gives you some courage. Fourth one, he needed some Dutch courage before facing his boss about the pay increase. So this guy wanted to meet his boss and ask his pay raise, but he needs some courage. So he needed some Dutch courage. Fifth one, a couple of shots of Dutch courage and he was ready to face anything. So after drinking some alcohol, he can face anything or anybody. That is why it is said a couple of shots of Dutch courage. So when we look at the origin of this idiom Dutch courage, this idiom shows the low regard that the English had for the Dutch. The English believed that the Dutch were cowards, and the only time they displayed their bravery was when they were under the influence of alcohol. So from this experience, the idiom Dutch courage has come into force, which means a courage that is displayed when one is drunk. That is the courage that you get by drinking any kind of alcoholic drinks.